I've driven Highway 12 almost every day for 7 years. Same stretch of road. Same gentle curves through farmland. Same radio dead zone 15 minutes outside the city where the signal dissolves into static before snapping back. I could drive it half asleep. Sometimes I did. That's what made it feel safe. You start recognizing things when you repeat a drive often enough. The bent guardrail near mile marker 42. The abandoned barn with the collapsed roof. The faded green signs that announce exits long before you reach them. Exit 7. Exit 8. Then nothing until exit 12. That gap was always there. I never questioned it. Until one night, driving home after a late shift, I saw exit 9. It was subtle, not glowing or dramatic, just a green sign half swallowed by darkness on the right shoulder. Its reflective paint catching my headlights for a split second. Exit 9, local access. I slowed instinctively, heart stuttering. There was no exit 9. I knew the road. I knew every exit, and yet there it was. Weathered, old. The lettering slightly crooked, like it had been replaced by hand. By the time my brain caught up, I'd already passed it. I checked my mirrors, expecting the sign to still be visible behind me. The road was empty, no glow, no shape where it should have been. The next morning, I convinced myself I was tired, that my eyes had filled in a gap, that highways all look the same at night if you stare long enough. That afternoon, driving the same stretch in daylight, I watched the shoulder carefully. Exit 7. Exit 8. Then the long, familiar gap. No exit 9. I laughed out loud, a short, embarrassed sound. Case closed. A week later, I saw it again. Same conditions, past midnight, no moon. The radio faded into static right on schedule. The sign appeared just long enough for me to read it before it slid past the passenger window. Exit 9, local access. This time, I slowed enough to look for the ramp. There was none. Just trees, thick, unbroken forest where the shoulder should have widened. The sign stood alone, planted at the edge of nothing. I drove the rest of the way home, gripping the wheel harder than I needed to, telling myself I wouldn't think about it again. I did. Once you notice something like that, you start looking for it. Night after night, my eyes drifted to the right shoulder as I passed the invisible gap between exits. Some nights, there was nothing. Other nights, the sign appeared. Never in the exact same spot, never close enough to study. Always gone by morning. I started paying attention to the pattern. It only showed up late. Never during the day, never at dusk or dawn. Only when the highway was fully dark, and only when I was alone. The night I decided to ignore it on purpose was the night things changed. I saw the sign ahead of time that night, farther down the road than usual. Instead of slowing, I sped up, eyes fixed forward. The radio cut out completely. Not static. Silence. The headlights dimmed. Just slightly. The car had taken a shallow breath. I checked the dashboard. Everything looked normal. The road began to stretch. That's the only way I can describe it. The same curve repeated itself. The same line of trees. The same reflective markers passing at uneven intervals. I drove for 10 minutes without seeing an exit sign, a mile marker, or another vehicle. My phone had no signal. The clock on the dash stopped changing minutes, hovering between two numbers like it couldn't decide. When I finally saw exit 12, relief hit so hard I almost laughed. The moment I passed it, the radio snapped back to life. The road shortened. The clock resumed ticking forward. I didn't see exit 9 that night. I thought that meant I'd won. The next evening, driving home earlier than usual, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. Exit 8 looked wrong. The sign was newer, brighter. The number font was slightly different. I drove past it and felt a pressure behind my eyes, like I'd skipped something important. That night, Exit 9 was closer than it had ever been. The sign stood beside an actual ramp now. A narrow strip of asphalt peeling away from the highway into the trees. No reflectors, no guardrail, just darkness waiting at the bottom of the slope. I slowed to a crawl. Every instinct told me not to take it, not out of fear, but certainty. The kind that settles deep in your chest and doesn't bother explaining itself. I passed it. The silence returned instantly. This time, the road didn't stretch. It folded. The trees leaned inward, the lane markings blurred. The headlights illuminated the same patch of pavement again and again, like the highway was looping beneath my tires. I tried to turn around. There were no shoulders anymore, just endless black beyond the edges. When Exit 9 appeared again, it was directly in front of me. There was no time to slow. The ramp dipped sharply, the forest swallowing the headlights. The moment I left the main road, the air felt heavier, thicker, like driving into a tunnel made of leaves. The radio crackled once, then a sound, not words, just something acknowledging me. The ramp ended at a narrow 2-lane road I didn't recognize. The pavement was older, cracked. Tire marks cut deep into it, all pointing the same direction, away from the highway. I drove for what felt like hours, though the clock refused to move. Eventually the road curved back towards something familiar. The bent guardrail near mile marker 42. The abandoned barn. I merged seamlessly back onto Highway 12. The car felt lighter afterward. The pressure in my chest faded, replaced by something colder. The next day, Exit 9 appeared on the directory near my office. Not bold, not new, just there, listed between 8 and 12 like it had always been. That night, I didn't hesitate. I took Exit 9 the moment I saw it. The ramp was smoother now, better maintained. The forest thinner, like it had been trimmed back in advance. When I returned to the highway, everything felt aligned. Since then, the drive has changed. The radio doesn't cut out anymore. The dead zone moved closer to the city. Exit 8 vanished last week. No sign, no ramp. Just open shoulder where it used to be. Exit 9 appears every night now. Sometimes earlier than expected. Sometimes with different wording. Exit 9, local access. Exit 9, authorized route. Exit 9, welcome back. I don't ignore it anymore. I've noticed something else too. The road doesn't show it to anyone else. I've watched cars pass the glowing sign in my headlights. Their drivers never slowing, never turning their heads. Last night, as I took the ramp, I realized the forest no longer felt unfamiliar. It felt attentive, like the road knows my commute now, like it expects me. And I can't remember when Exit 9 wasn't there at all.